The story opens in the industrial city of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, where Anya, a young woman in her 20s, leads an unremarkable life. She shares a small apartment with her boyfriend, Zhenya, a well-built and attractive bodybuilder who also works as a swimming coach. From the outside, they appear to be an enviable couple, but beneath the surface, their relationship is plagued with insecurities, mostly stemming from Anya's physical changes over the last few months. Anya works in a bakery, a job that she initially loved. Her days are spent creating beautiful cakes and pastries, surrounded by the tempting aroma of freshly baked goods. But with time, this job has become a double-edged sword. She used to be a size 0, a fitness fanatic, and her appearance mattered greatly to her, largely because Zhenya's world was all about fitness. However, working in a bakery has had its consequences. She has gained a noticeable amount of weight, much to her own dismay. The first signs of her emotional struggle come to light when she is invited to a friend's wedding. Excited but nervous, she rummages through her wardrobe, only to find that nothing fits like it used to. Clothes she used to slip into effortlessly now feel tight and uncomfortable. There's a sinking realization that her body is no longer what it once was, and she can no longer ignore it. Her initial attempts to brush off the changes, muttering to herself that no one will notice, are quickly overshadowed by the undeniable frustration she feels as she rips a few dresses while trying them on. This moment sets the tone for the rest of the story, Anya's constant battle between denial and acceptance, between the carefree girl she once was and the insecure woman she is becoming. Even though Zhenya tries to avoid commenting on her weight, his discomfort is palpable. He watches her struggle with clothes, his eyes filled with silent judgment, and though he chooses not to say anything outright, his disapproval is evident. Anya finally finds a dress that fits well enough, but when Zhenya sees her in it, his face drops. The girl he once adored for her slender figure is now a stranger to him. Zhenya's reaction is less about Anya and more about himself. He fears the judgment of his fitness friends who will be at the wedding. His world revolves around appearances, and his discomfort with Anya's weight gain shows his inability to see beyond the surface. Societal pressure and superficiality, especially in relationships. Zhenya doesn't want to be seen with Anya because, in his mind, she no longer fits the image of the ideal girlfriend, someone who mirrors his fitness-focused lifestyle. He subtly hints that she should stay home, making weak excuses about how she might not enjoy herself. But Anya, picking up on the cues, takes the initiative and tells him that she'll stay back and order pizza instead. Her casual demeanor hides her hurt, but it's clear that Zhenya's rejection stings. As Zhenya leaves for the wedding, there's a bittersweet moment where he picks her up and places her on the kitchen counter, but dodges her attempt at a kiss. This small gesture, his refusal to be affectionate, is a clear indication of the growing distance between them. Anya is left feeling rejected, but she masks her sadness with food. In the quiet of their apartment, she changes into comfortable clothes and steps onto the scale, only to be confronted with the harsh reality of her 76-kilogram weight. Despite constantly fretting over her weight, Anya's only real effort to change involves half-hearted affirmations and a glass of water. Her relationship with food is a complex one. It's both a comfort and an enemy, symbolizing her inability to control her life. As she cooks fried food and scrolls through her phone, she stumbles upon pictures from the wedding. The images stir a wave of emotions, especially when she sees Zhenya surrounded by fit, slender women who embody the very thing she feels she's lost. When she spots a picture of Zhenya with another girl, who kisses him on the cheek in a boomerang video, her heart sinks. The betrayal isn't overt, but the implications are clear. Zhenya is drifting away, drawn to the kind of woman who fits his idea of attractiveness. This realization is the tipping point for Anya. She calls her best friend, Natasha, in a rush of emotions, asking her to pick her up and take her to the wedding. Natasha arrives, and though she too notices Anya's weight gain, her reaction is entirely different from Zhenya's. Natasha sees the beauty in her friend, regardless of her size. She cups Anya's face in her hands and tells her to be confident, a message Anya desperately needs to hear but struggles to internalize. Upon her arrival at the wedding, Anya is immediately confronted with the painful sight of Zhenya dancing with the very girl from the picture. The girl is thin, toned, and everything Anya feels she is not. Jealousy, insecurity, and anger bubble up inside her, and she can't resist stepping between them. Zhenya is visibly shocked to see her, but instead of addressing her concerns, he continues to dance, leaving the other girl to walk away, scoffing at Anya's interruption. As the night wears on, Anya's emotions unravel. She eats to fill the emotional void, asking Zhenya why he was dancing with another girl. He brushes off her concern, dismissing it as a group dance. But Anya pushes harder, desperate for the truth. The confrontation escalates, and Zhenya finally snaps, admitting that he doesn't like her anymore. His words cut deep. He accuses her of doing nothing but eating, calling her a burden. This moment is heartbreaking. Anya's fears are confirmed in the cruelest way possible. Zhenya's love, once based on attraction, has turned into disdain. She's no longer the girl he fell for. In his eyes, she's no longer desirable. Anya's tears are a silent testament to the emotional abuse she's endured, but before they can resolve anything, the bride approaches them, offering her congratulations. When she asks Anya if she's pregnant, the humiliation is complete. Zhenya walks away, leaving Anya broken and alone. The next scene shows Anya on a bus, sobbing uncontrollably as she heads to her mother's house. Her pain is raw, her tears are visible for everyone to see, but she no longer cares about hiding her emotions from the world. When she arrives at her mother's house, her mother's well-intentioned but tactless comments only make things worse. Instead of offering comfort, her mother brushes off Anya's concerns by telling her that she's not fat, just big-boned, a phrase that minimizes her daughter's very real struggle. That night, as Anya scrolls through old pictures of herself, she can't help but compare her current self to who she used to be. Her emotional and physical transformation weighs heavily on her, and the realization that she's no longer the girl Zhenya fell in love with eats away at her self-esteem. This moment marks a turning point for Anya, though she's not yet ready to admit it. She's lost, hurt, and desperate for a way to win Zhenya back. The next morning, Anya's friend Natasha calls, offering her a safe haven on her balcony. Anya packs her belongings and heads over, seeking refuge in Natasha's comforting presence. Natasha and her husband Dimas are a kind, supportive couple, but their attempts to cheer Anya up fall flat. Her grief consumes Anya over the breakup. All she wants is Zhenya's validation, and no amount of reassurance from her friends can fill the void he's left behind. Natasha tells her a story about a friend who lost weight and won back her ex-boyfriend's love. Inspired by this story, Anya considers a drastic change. Natasha suggests Anya take advantage of free trials at local gyms, motivating her to get back in shape without spending too much money. With little to lose, Anya agrees to try. Her first day at the gym is a disaster. She's clumsy, unfamiliar with the equipment, and embarrassed by her lack of fitness. She falls off the treadmill several times, and even though she laughs at her own mistakes, the experience only deepens her insecurities. Later, her efforts are quickly undone as she binges on food, unable to resist the comfort that eating brings her. Natasha, who works at the restaurant where Anya eats, expresses disappointment at Anya's lack of self-control, urging her to be stronger. At home, Anya's efforts to lose weight become increasingly desperate. She wraps her body in plastic wrap, hoping that some miracle trick will help her shed pounds while she snacks on chips. Anya deeply intertwines her emotions with her relationship with food, using it as both a coping mechanism and a source of guilt. Each failure to control her eating habits adds to her growing sense of helplessness. But Anya's true journey to self-acceptance begins when she meets Kolya. At first, their meeting is awkward. They cross paths at a self-help group for compulsive eaters, where Anya pretends to be a journalist researching eating disorders. Kolya, however, sees through her lie. He's blunt, calling out the group's denial and forcing Anya to confront her issues. His directness shocks her, but it's also a wake-up call. They will support each other in their journeys to self-improvement. His deal is straightforward: he'll help her lose weight, but in return, she has to be honest with herself and commit fully to the process. Anya, though hesitant, agrees, sensing that Kolya might be exactly what she needs, someone who doesn't coddle her, but also doesn't judge her the way Genya did. From the start, the dynamic between Anya and Kolya is starkly different from her previous relationship with Genya. Kolya's approach is honest, direct, and without any romantic under. At first, he doesn't try to sugarcoat her struggles, nor does he allow her to wallow in self-pity. Instead, he pushes her to confront the harsh realities she's been avoiding. This no-nonsense attitude initially frustrates Anya, who has grown accustomed to avoiding discomfort. However, it also slowly starts to break down the emotional walls she's built around herself. Their partnership begins with small steps. Kolya takes her running, something Anya finds both physically and emotionally grueling. The early days are filled with setbacks. Anya constantly complains, struggles to keep up, and is often on the verge of giving up. Yet Kolya's tough love starts to make an impact. His own story of struggle comes to light. He too battled with weight and self-esteem issues, and his transformation wasn't just physical but deeply emotional. His personal journey inspires Anya, as she begins to see that this process is about much more than just looking better for Genya. It's about reclaiming her own sense of worth. As the weeks go by, Kolya and Anya's relationship starts to evolve. They share moments of vulnerability, revealing more about their pasts. Kolya talks about how he used to be mocked for his appearance, which is a stark contrast to the strong, confident man Anya sees today. This openness deepens their bond, creating a friendship rooted in shared pain and mutual understanding. For the first time, Anya feels seen for who she is, not just her outward appearance. Kolya becomes her confidant, someone who believes in her even when she doesn't believe in herself. Yet, despite this progress, Anya's lingering attachment to Genya continues to hold her back. She's still driven by the idea of getting him back, and it clouds her judgment. She loses weight, starts feeling more confident, and begins to see the changes in her body. But the real breakthrough happens not because of the physical transformation, but because of her evolving emotional mindset. Kolya constantly reminds her that self-acceptance has nothing to do with others' validation. There's a pivotal scene where Anya finally returns to the gym where Genya works. She has slimmed down considerably, and Genya's immediate reaction is one of attraction. For a brief moment, Anya feels victorious. She has won Genya back. But as she talks to him, she realizes that nothing has truly changed between them. Genya still only cares about appearances. His compliments are shallow, focused solely on her looks, and the conversation quickly turns to how they could get back together now that she's fixed herself. It's in this moment that Anya has an epiphany. All this time, she's been working to get Genya's approval, believing that his love was the prize at the end of her journey. But standing in front of him, she finally understands that his validation was never worth pursuing. Genya doesn't see her for who she is, he only sees her physical body. She's reduced to an object of desire, not a person with her own thoughts, feelings, and dreams. The final confrontation between Anya and Genya is emotionally charged. Genya tries to woo her back, but Anya, standing tall in her new confidence, rejects him. She tells him that she's done trying to meet his superficial standards, and she's no longer the woman who would mold herself to fit his expectations. This moment is empowering for Anya. It's not just a rejection of Genya, it's a rejection of all the societal pressures that told her she had to be a certain size or shape to be loved. Anya walks away from Genya, and for the first time in a long while, she feels free. There's a weight lifted from her, but it's not the physical weight she's been carrying. It's the emotional burden of seeking validation from others. She realizes that her happiness can't come from external sources, it has to come from within. In the final stages of her journey, Anya's relationship with Kolya becomes more layered. There's a quiet intimacy that has developed between them, built on trust and mutual respect. Though there's the potential for romance, it's not rushed. Instead, the focus remains on Anya's journey to self-love. Kolya doesn't try to take Genya's place in her life, he simply supports her in her continued growth. He admires her strength and resilience, and in turn, she appreciates his steady presence. The story concludes with Anya standing in front of a mirror, not to check how much she's lost or how toned she looks, but to see herself, truly see herself, for the first time. She smiles, not because she's finally achieved some physical ideal, but because she's finally at peace with who she is. The reflection staring back at her is someone who has fought hard to reclaim her identity and self-worth. It's someone who knows that happiness isn't tied to fitting into a dress or winning someone's love, it's about loving yourself enough to live authentically. Anya's personal journey is a testament to the power of self-acceptance. Her evolving relationship with Kolya symbolizes how true connections are built on mutual respect and understanding, not just surface-level attraction. And her confrontation with Genya serves as a reminder that external validation is fleeting, but self-love is enduring. The film ends on a hopeful note, with Anya embracing her newfound confidence and inner strength, ready to face whatever challenges come her way, not for anyone else, but for herself.